Hello, I'm Dr. Moulton, and welcome to this session on how to make great online presentations in the virtual era. We'll go over this outline on slide preparation, do's and don'ts. We'll go through some examples of good and not so good slides. We'll talk about tips on presentation, style, and content, the importance of practice, tech check, and finally, on the day of. Slide preparation, do's and don'ts. Do use diagrams, data charts, and visuals, but don't overcrowd the slides. Remember, less is more. Avoid too much text on the slide. Only use labels as needed. Make sure the text font is big and bold so that it is clearly visible. The title of the slide should be the take-home message or the conclusion of the contents of the slide. Use animation sparingly because this may not transfer well virtually. As for the timing and number of slides, this will depend on the duration of the presentation. Generally, budget 1 minute per slide plus time for questions. If you have a 10-minute talk, you should have 10 slides total. This is an example of what not to do. There is too much going on this slide. The fonts are too small and very hard to read. And the title, Gene X in Cells Y and Disease Z, does not convey a meaningful message. This is a much better slide. There's less information, which makes it much easier for the audience to grasp the information. Everything is labeled clearly and is large enough in big and bold font and is easy to read. Key data are highlighted with red boxes to bring attention to those pieces of information. Finally, the title, Gene X is necessary for function of cell Y to protect from disease Z, conveys a meaningful message, conclusion, and take-home message of all the data shown on the slide. Presentation, style, and content. Make sure to speak slowly and clearly. Use simple language and avoid too much jargon. Use the pointer and make sure that the pointer is visible. Look at the camera every so often to connect with the audience. Prepare sentences for switching between slides or topics for a smooth transition between slides or topics. Make it interesting and interactive. This will depend on the duration of the presentation and will work well for longer presentations. Build in audience participation with pop quiz questions or audience polls. Practice makes perfect. So practice, 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 and then practice some more. When you practice, make sure to rehearse out loud. Make sure that this is a timed practice, so set a timer for the practice. Preferably practice with an audience, even if it is one person. This can be family, friend, a colleague, roommate, or mentor. Get feedback on the slides, style, content, and pace of your presentation. And make adjustments as necessary. Tech check. Make sure to check the technology early, at least a day or few days ahead of time. Check the computer that you will use and make sure that it is charged and will be charged on the day of. Make sure to test the presentation in slideshow and go through all slides from start to finish. Plan for and check the room, the location, the background, position, and setup. Make sure to position the computer at an appropriate height so that you're facing the camera. Do a mock online presentation with someone so they can watch you on a different computer to make sure that your background, height, distance, everything looks good. On the day of, make sure to dress professionally, even though this is a virtual presentation. Again, ensure that your background is appropriate or use a professional virtual background. Make sure you're in a quiet room or space with minimal disturbances and distractions. Be confident and smile. Thank you.